Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Gifford, and I will be leading the Exercise and Medicine Study Abroad in Greece in 2025. This video is to help familiarize you with what we'll be doing on that study abroad and help you prepare for this applying for the study abroad and what to expect. So we will go to lots of beautiful places and see beautiful things like the Parthenon and the Acropolis in Athens, and ancient stadiums, and we'll see surgeries and beautiful islands, and you'll learn all about medicine. It'll be a wonderful experience. So let me take you through what we'll be doing. First, I'll give you a summary of our trip, the purpose, the dates, the itinerary, which is tentative. It's subject to change depending on weather and other things, and the cost. And then I'll give you some tips for applying and interviewing for the study abroad. This picture here is the Panathenaic Stadium in Athens. We'll go to this. Uh, it is an Olympic stadium that was built before the time of Christ and then refurbished and was home to multiple Olympic Games, including the uh, first modern Olympics in the 1890s. And we'll get to go there and run around and have a great lecture on endurance exercise. You'll actually get to run on a track, an ancient Olympic track. Really cool. So, the purpose of this study abroad is to help students learn to use exercise as medicine in their own life and in their future careers. We'll do this by getting hands-on training, measuring and prescribing a variety of exercises. This will happen in fun and scenic places. Like we'll do some swimming and we'll talk about the physiology and the health benefits of swimming. We'll do some hiking. We'll talk about that. We'll do some other activities like hopefully snorkeling. I'm working on getting that scheduled. And we'll do other things like going out for runs or other things like calisthenics. And we'll talk about how to use these exercises, different exercises, to reduce your risk of disease and even potentially treat disease. My goal with this is that if you are going to be a clinician, like a doctor, when patients come to you, once you're finally a doctor, when they come to you, instead of just saying, hey, you should exercise more, my goal is that those who do this program will be able to tell their patients, you should exercise more, and these are the things that you should do. These are the risks, these are the benefits. If that doesn't work, then maybe try this. It should give you the same thing. I want you to be able to use exercise as a medicine and prescribe it just like you would different pills. So that's kind of what we're going with point number one. And then why Greece? Well, Greece is where modern medicine was developed and has a rich history with not only medicine but exercise, with the Olympics and with lots of other parts of exercise being involved in medicine. It wasn't uh, separate. When you look at the history of exercise and the history of medicine in ancient Greece, they're intertwined. Many of the things that ancient clinicians and doctors prescribed were exercises and diet and rest. And so we'll talk a lot about these things. And you'll get to see in multiple areas how your lifestyle affects your physical activity and your health. We'll go to places that have banned cars, so you have to walk places. We'll go to places where it's extremely congested. It's going to be hard to find ways to be physically active, and we're going to strive to do that. So we're going to try and live what we're learning about exercise while we're there. And I'll teach you lots of different techniques for measuring exercise intensity, like heart rate. We'll try and do some lactate threshold testing. We'll talk about VO2 max. You'll get hands-on experience measuring things like blood pressure. It'll be a great time. And then the third point is you'll get to spend about 12 days observing different doctors, nurses, therapists in Greek hospitals. Uh, this is one of the top reasons that we're going to Greece is the access to the hospitals is great. You'll get to go in and see different surgeries and different procedures that are really hard to get access to here. They just have different privacy laws, and I can't guarantee the what you'll see when you go to the hospitals. That kind of depends on what's going on. But students in the past couple of years have seen things like knee replacements, open heart surgeries, childbirth. They've gotten experience in a lot of areas with primary care, cardiology, and so you get to see that. And so those are the main purposes. And overall, I think people who will do this program, it will be well worth it if they are going into a career in healthcare. This will be a great investment and help you prepare for that. So, what are some important dates? Now, first off, this is Crete, this picture. We'll be going there. The first date that you got to keep in mind is the priority deadline, November 1st. I'm going to start reviewing applications and bringing people in for interviews after November 1st. And then there's a final application deadline of December 1st. I would love to get the roster who's going on the study abroad. I would love to get that roster set up and finalized by mid-November. Um, in the second term of the winter semester, if you've been accepted to the study abroad, you will attend a weekly prep class for the study abroad. It happen in the evenings, very low pressure. It'll just help you know how to handle the travel, how to prepare for the culture, and we'll talk about how to prepare for the whole trip. And then the trip itself is May 21st through June 22nd. And that's May 21st, we all meet in Athens. Now, however you get there, that is up to you. And if you decide to fly to Europe early and tour around, that's fine. Uh, just first day of attendance is May 21st. And then June 22nd is when we're over. And where you go from there is up to you as well. If you want to stay in Europe and travel around after the program, that's fine. Um, but you'll be you're in charge of getting yourself to and from Greece. So when we get there, here's our rough itinerary. The first place we'll go is Athens. And now, when you think of Greece, you probably think of Athens. Athens has the Acropolis and the Parthenon. So, the Acropolis is this high mountain here that's in the middle of the city. And on top of it, they built like a temple mount. The Parthenon was an ancient temple, first dedicated to the Greek god Athena. And then, as the culture evolved, it was then a cathedral. It was once a mosque, once a place where they stored gunpowder during wars, and that's why it's in such shambles. During the war, it was storing gunpowder, and it got blown up, and so the temple got messed up, and that unfortunately wasn't that long ago, a couple hundred years ago. So we'll go to Athens, and Athens will be it's a beautiful place with ancient history and current history and a great culture going on right now. So while we're in Athens, we'll tour the Acropolis and the Acropolis Museum, and we'll learn a lot about ancient faith and also ancient healing practices. And and then we'll also spend some time going to parks, going around, eating at lots of great restaurants. And Athens is not just in Greece itself is not just ancient, right? There are people that live there now and they have wonderful lives and there's a lot we can learn from them. It's a beautiful place. And so you get to wander around Athens. We'll see lots of great stuff and it's going to be a lot of fun. Day trips from Athens will go to a couple of places. One will be the island of Hydra, written Hydra. Hydra is an island about 2 hour ferry ride away from Athens, and it's a pretty small island. Uh, and they've gone as far as banning cars. So the only cars you'll see on this island are like ambulances and dump trucks, garbage trucks. Other than that, if you want to get around, you need to walk, ride a donkey, or take a boat taxi, a boat from one village to another. And so my wife and I went there this last summer, and it was absolutely amazing. The island is beautiful with crystal clear water, and we'll get to go swimming there, go to the beach. and walk around and experience what it's like to be in a place without cars and kind of reflect on how our environment influences our physical activity and our health. Another place we are planning to go is Delphi, and this is a place where ancient Greeks would go to meet with oracles and get guidance on what they were doing. This is one of those must-see places when you go to Greece. Then, after about 5 days down with Athens as our base camp, we're going to move up to Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city in Greece. And it's in the northern area of Greece in an area called Macedonia. And it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, less touristy than, than Athens. And this is going to be our home base for about 3 weeks. We'll spend 12 of those days tour. You'll be working in hospitals. I should say shadowing in the hospitals. You probably won't get to do too many things hands on. It's not like you're going to be doing the surgeries, but you'll get to watch surgeries, watch clinical rotations. As I mentioned, students who have gone in the past have seen things like hip replacements, knee replacements, open heart surgeries, childbirth, and also gone to clinical consultations with patients for things like hypertension, infections, diabetes, kidney disease. Uh, so most of the doctors do speak English. Their first language most likely is Greek, but they speak English, so, and they are ready and willing to talk to you, some more than others. And so they can teach you and help you understand what's going on. Now, while the doctors speak English, some of the patients, well, the patients probably won't. They might know some, but they're not going to be speaking English to their doctor. So when you're in the surgeries, the language won't be an issue. You're just going to be watching the surgery, and the doctor can kind of guide you through. But when you go to consultation hours, where, like, just imagine when you've gone to your primary care doc and you're talking to them about a sickness that you have. When you go to those kind of things, there's a good chance it's going to be in Greek, and you might not understand as much. So I don't want to oversell it. There will be times when the language might be a little bit of an issue, but not too often. So overall, people in Greece, especially in these areas, Athens and Thessaloniki and Crete, the places we'll be going, people, their first language is Greek, but a lot of them, if not most of them, if not all of them, speak English. Speak English very well. When I was in Greece this past summer, I don't speak Greek, and I had no issues getting around. We went around Athens as if it was pretty much as if English was the first language in a lot of places. In Thessaloniki, we got around with English, no problems. There was one funny issue. We were trying to find a place for gluten-free bread, and trying to explain that was tricky, but we figured it out, and they have it, and so things like Google Translate will come in handy. But in the hospitals, the doctors will speak English pretty well, and you'll get to see lots of great things. And these will be you'll be shadowing those doctors from about 8 a.m. to about 2 p.m. 4 days a week. So if we do that, that's 6 times. We're looking at about 24. We're looking at about 60 to 70 hours of shadowing, of high quality medical shadowing that you can count towards medical school and to on your applications, and also to help you decide if you even want to go to medical school, whether it's medicine, physical therapy, physician's assistant. This will help you figure that out. In the mornings, you'll be in the hospitals, like I said, 4 days a week. And then at least 3 days a week, we're going to get together after the hospitals and have big group meals. They're delicious. The Mediterranean diet is world famous for being delicious and extremely healthy. And we are going to take advantage of that. And so uh, the way that we will do most of the meals is we'll have our group get together at a big table, and the waiters and waitresses will just bring out piles or plates and plates of food, and we'll eat off of it, kind of serving ourselves and bringing the food to our own plates, kind of big group meal. Lots of healthy fruits and vegetables, lots of lean meats like chicken, pork, and fish, and the salads are to die for, and the fruits, oh my goodness. in Thessaloniki, Macedonia. They grow a lot of the fruit for the area, and you can get cherries and plums, and oh, it's so good. So good. So we're going to eat very well. And when you're about 3 to 4 meals a week will be provided through the study abroad. Students who have gone to Thessaloniki in the past for this portion of it, when they've gone, they've eaten so much at these group meals that they still have food left over. They take it home and they don't have to pay for dinner. There's just a lot of food left over. But even if you are going out, and I encourage you to go out and try a lot of the food because Thessaloniki is like famous in Europe, definitely in Greece, as being the best food in Greece. And when you go out, the food is generally pretty cheap. It's cheaper than it is here in the US. You can go to a restaurant and get a gyro or a kebab for about $3 to $6, €6, and that'll fill you up for sure. It's great food. Um, while we're in Thessaloniki, you'll be living in apartments with other BYU students on the trip. Uh, and we'll spend about 3 weeks in that apartment. So it'll start to feel like home. You'll get to know the neighborhoods, you'll get to know the shops, the people around there. You're going to live more like a local than a tourist. When we're in Athens and later when we're in Crete, we'll be in hotels. But in Thessaloniki, we get to kind of settle down for a while. Thessaloniki is beautiful. It's right along the sea and has lots of ancient history. The Greek Orthodox Church is very big in Greece, obviously, and it's beautiful. We'll go to lots of cathedrals or churches and monasteries and learn to appreciate their faith and their culture, and hopefully it can inform your faith and your culture going forward. We'll do several day trips from Thessaloniki, and this is the list of what we're working on now. As of right now, we plan to do all of these, but these are subject to change due to weather or political conditions. So one that we have on the books already is to go to a place called Meteora, and that's this place. So it's about a 2 hour drive from Thessaloniki, and we will you go there, and there are high mountains, high cliffs, and now about 400 years ago, the Ottomans took over Greece, and at times they weren't very tolerant to Christians. And so these monks were being persecuted, and a lot of them fled, and they started to build monasteries on top of these cliffs. So very isolated. They had to get the bricks to build it. They brought them up by rope and bucket and built them over the course of several hundred years. And we'll get to go tour them and be immersed in this culture. It's beautiful. We'll go we plan to do a hike on Mount Olympus. We won't go to the top of Mount Olympus, so you won't see Zeus. But the reason for that is that it's a long, long hike, and we just won't have the time for that. But we'll hike on Mount Olympus, go into some scenic areas, and we'll go to a place called Vergina, which is think about it's the Greek version of King Tut's tomb. So, like 40 or 50 years ago, a tomb was discovered, extremely well preserved, untouched for 2,000 plus years. And it was Alexander the Great's father and Alexander the Great's son and his family. Alexander the Great's body, who knows where it is? But his parents and his kids are in this tomb, and it's in incredible condition. It's amazing to see. We're planning to go to some beaches called, there are these peninsulas a little ways from Thessaloniki called Halkidiki, and the beaches there are amazing. We'll spend a day there on the beaches. And then one I'm really excited about, this is the one that depends on political conditions, but as of right now, it's a go. Uh, we have set up to meet with a refugee community center just outside of Thessaloniki. So Greece is kind of the gateway to Europe for a lot of the Middle East. And so there are a lot of refugees from Afghanistan and Syria, and even some from Ukraine and other places that have made their way down into Greece and are staying near Thessaloniki in a refugee camp. And a nonprofit based in Utah has set up a community center, like a recreation center, just outside of the refugee camp, and we plan to go there and spend the day there, seeing how they use things like physical activity, exercise, health coaching, English teaching, nutrition, to help improve the quality of life of these people that are in a pretty rough circumstance. It's going to be a great opportunity. I'm really excited to go to the refugee center. Now, after we spend our couple of weeks in Thessaloniki, we'll end the study abroad on the island of Crete, which is the biggest island of Greece. It's kind of halfway between Greece and Africa. Is a beautiful mountainous island, and we're going to go there and do more exercise and physical activity. We plan right now, we're planning to do snorkeling and hiking and swimming on the beach. These pictures are from places that we'll go, or at least planning to go. Um, and so, whenever we do the exercises, we're going to talk about what the exercises do, whether we're hiking or swimming or snorkeling or lifting weights if we find an opportunity to do that. We'll talk about how the body is responding and how it's beneficial for health, how it could be risky for people in different conditions. So we'll constantly be involving the use of exercise prescription and learning about exercise in everything we do. We're going to learn about the history of the people on the island. Recent history is amazing with lots of events of World War II happening here, and ancient history with the Minoans. You might remember that from like high school history. Really ancient cultures. We'll see some of these places. And we're just going to also use it to kind of reflect and chill before going home, kind of slow down and take in the island life for the last little bit. It's going to be an amazing experience. Some of the things, again, everything's always subject to change based off of local conditions, whether there's a protest, which are common in Greece, or whether there's like weather changes or political unrest, whatever it might be. Uh, we have to play it by ear, so I can't guarantee each of these things will be done, but they're on the books right now. Now, let's talk about cost. So this is something I take very seriously, and I've done everything I can to reduce the cost. I even selected to take this program to Greece instead of other places that I'm more familiar with, like Spain, because it's cheaper. Now, the cost to be in the program is going to be between $7,300 and $7,800. We have that range for multiple reasons. One of the biggest reasons is just we have to exchange currency. So we use US dollars, and over there they use euros, and the exchange rate fluctuates. And so that's going to cause there to be some variability in the cost, as well as uh, bookings. Like we're still working on getting things booked, and um, how many people attend will influence that. If we don't fill every seat, then the cost goes up a little. So that's why we have this range. I want to be straightforward with you that any study abroad at BYU, almost any, the listed cost will not include the flights to and from the location. So that's $7,300 to $7,800, and then expect to pay another $1,500 to $2,000 in flights. And you might be able to get better deals, but that's kind of the ballpark you should start thinking about. And the reason flights aren't included is that people are coming from all different places. We'll have lots of people that will get to Europe a week or two early and tour around. Other people will stay late. Some people might be coming from Utah, others might be going from Florida, and so the costs are variable. And so we just allow that to be up to you on when to book them and pay for them, but you'll do that through BYU Kennedy Center so we know where you're at. So what's included with this? It includes your spring tuition. So if you're going to get 6 credits of exercise science classes, and if you're in exercise science or exercise and wellness, these are required or at least elective credits. So that's 6 of those credits. And so you get that tuition. So the normal tuition you would be paying, which is probably, I don't remember now, like $2,000, that's included in this cost. And you're getting your housing in Europe for about a month, 31 days. And that's going to include approximately 13 delicious large meals. It includes your entrance fees to tours, concerts, snorkeling, hiking, other activities. All these have fees, and so that's all built in. It includes the cost of the internship. We have to pay to get access to these hospitals and to have people bring you in and out of the hospitals and guide us around, and so that's included. And then travel insurance is also included. So basically, once you get to Athens, like all the travel that you do associated with the study abroad should be covered, except for things you do on the side. Like if you want to go to a museum that we're not planning to go to, or if you want to go to a restaurant that's farther away, you got to pay for the travel there. But for the most part, like the train rides, the ferry rides, bus rides, those are covered and included in the tuition or included in the cost. Um, you'll have to pay for some of your food on your own. There's some other things we can just look at what's listed and be ready to ask me questions about what's included and what's not. Now the funding, where can you get funding for this? I recognize this is expensive, uh, but I also believe it is worth the cost. If you are pre-med, pre-nursing, pre-PA, pre-physical therapy, I think this is very worth the cost and will help you decide if you really want to do that, and it will help you get the experience and the hours necessary to apply, and it will make your application stand out. Uh, there are going to be lots of people that have observation hours in primary care clinics and in physical therapy clinics in Utah, but not very many applicants for medical school or PT school will have high quality observation hours in a different country in Greece. And so this is really going to help you stand out and help you learn if you want to do that. So there are some scholarships available. Kennedy Center offers some that you can apply for. You need to make sure to fill out the FAFSA. Your major, like if you're in the Department of Exercise Science, we might have a few scholarships that you could apply for. Well, we do, and you might receive it. I hope you do receive it. And we combine those efforts. When I say the major, that's combining money from exercise science and the College of Life Science should get you about $1,000. And if you have any Pell Grants that you've received or any BYU scholarships that you've received, all of those can apply directly towards the cost of the study abroad. Other than that, like you can use school loans for a study abroad, and I'm a cheap person, and so think about it, weigh the risks and the benefits. From my perspective, if you are going into medicine, whether it's physical therapy, med school, nursing, or physician's assistant, these are going to cost you a lot of money to go to school. All right. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to go through med school. And this will be a drop in the bucket. It will be very small in terms of the loan that you would take out to do this. It'll help you figure out if you want to go and potentially save you a lot of time and money if you figure out you don't, by going on this program, you figure out you don't want to go to medical school. It's, I think, well worth the money. Um, so it's, if it was me, if I was in your shoes and I was planning on going to medical school or some kind of healthcare profession, I would consider a loan on this. I'm not saying that you should, but it's something you would think about. But if it was me and I was not planning on going to medical school, I was just planning on going and working somewhere else in after I graduated BYU. If I was thinking of being like a personal trainer or something, I would think twice about getting a loan for this. This is just my personal uh, philosophy. So I don't know Like if you're just looking for a good vacation, I probably wouldn't take a loan out for it. If you're looking at this as something that will help you advance in your career, then I would consider it. I'm not saying do it, but consider it. Might be worth it. Um, so now I want to talk about applying and interviewing. I'm going to start bringing people in for interviews to see who to decide who to take on this trip. We've had lots of applicants and it's very exciting. And I want to make sure to get the people that are the best fit for the program, people whose expectations for the program meet what the program actually is. I don't want people thinking that they're going to go and just spend a month on the beach and get there and realize, oh man, I actually have to do homework and I actually have to go and shadow and do these things. um, I want you to know what you're getting into, and I want to bring people that are prepared for it. So here is a rubric of the things that I'm going to be looking at as we, oh, sorry, as as I go over your applications and as I interview you. One of the first things that I'm going to be looking for is just how committed you are to the program. Is this your plan A for the summer, or is it your plan C? If there's a good chance that you might get accepted and then reject the acceptance, I don't want you. I want to get the people that are committed to this. And the reason for that is I have 18 seats, and if I get 18 people, that brings the cost down for everyone. If people drop out and I get down to 17 or 16 people going, now the cost has to go up for everyone. So I want to keep the cost fixed and at the lowest possible. And so I need people who are committed to attending. And so you can demonstrate that commitment by talking about um, your plans for the summer and plans for schooling and how this fits in with your plans. And also plans for funding would be another thing I would put in here. How are you planning to pay for it? You don't have to have it completely solidified, but I want to make sure that you've thought about this because it is a significant cost. Now, another thing I'm going to be looking for is evidence that you're going to live the honor code when you're away from BYU. Taking a bunch of BYU students across the world and being in charge of them is very intimidating for me. And so I want to make sure that I have responsible adults traveling with me and people that are going to exhibit high standards. And so there's the dress and the grooming standards that you have to live, just like you do at BYU. And then there's curfews that we have to reach. We can't be out, you can't be out wandering at night. I need to know where you're at. And I need to know that you're not out drinking or doing anything risky. So commitment to the honor code is a big deal for me. And we're going to in addition to the honor code, we're going to have lots of opportunities to have spiritual conversations. That's something I love to do. And we're going to go to places where the Apostle Paul walked and taught. We're going to go to churches and cathedrals, and I want you to get the most out of it. And so if you're not into living the honor code or not into talking about spiritual things, or at least being around when we talk about them, then maybe don't apply for this program because that's something that we're going to do a lot. It's not church by any means, but we will have a lot of spiritual conversations. It's going to be amazing. Then I'm also looking for evidence that you can handle being on a rigorous schedule in a foreign country. So I don't want people to get to Greece and be overwhelmed and homesick and then exhausted by the schedule. We're not just going to be relaxing on the beach. We are going to be doing things daily, whether it's going on tours or going and shadowing in the hospitals. We'll have something at least for a couple of hours each day that you'll need to attend. You'll have plenty of free time, lots of free time to go wander or relax on your own. We have that built in. Um, but please be aware that it's going to be exhausting, and um, you're going to be uncomfortable being in a foreign country. That's just how it goes. Keep in mind, Greece is a first world country. It's very comfortable, very clean, very safe. But you might be surrounded by a different language that might be hard. Then I'm also looking for people that are gonna basically not embarrass me when we go to the hospitals or go to the museums or other places. I want you to act like professionals. Do your best to represent BYU well. So looking for people that will behave maturely. And then we need people that get along with others. Uh, it's gonna be you and like 18 other or 17 other students, and we are going to spend a lot of time together on planes and on buses and in apartments. We want to make sure that we're good with each other. That you'll be kind and loving and fair with each other. And then I got to make sure that you are looking at this program to enhance your education and career goals. I don't want people that are just looking for a vacation, because we'll have a vacation, but we're also going to have a lot of work, like I mentioned. It's going to be an amazing experience. You're going to get to learn a lot. You're going to get to see a lot of touristy places and go a lot of amazing places and do things. But you do have a schedule that you'll have to keep. You can't just uh, bail out on activities. We need you at all the activities. You can't just take a couple of days off and say you want to go to the beach. That's not going to happen. So please show evidence that you're ready and willing to be part of the group and participate in all the things. And then, as I mentioned, I'm looking for people that are uh, open to having spiritual conversations. I'm not judging your testimony or your faith on this. You don't have to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. I'm just looking for people who will not detract from these conversations and who will not run away from them, who will be present, because we're going to go to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Athens and in Thessaloniki. They have branches. We're going to enter into holy places for Greek Orthodox monasteries and cathedrals, and it's going to be an amazing experience. We're going to go to Mars Hill, where the Apostle Paul taught the Athenians. It's going to be an amazing experience and can very much grow your faith if you're open to it. So I look forward to meeting with you and interviewing with you. I'm going to ask you questions that are related to these main ideas when we interview. And please come prepared to ask me questions about the program. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Um, all right. And that's all I will say for today. I will see you soon.